Breaking yet another barrier in the media industry in Sri Lanka, News First, your number one news provider, together with the MTV-MBC networks, tie up with YouTube, the largest video sharing website in the world.
Good evening and welcome to Primetime News. I'm Shane Silva.
And I'm Sonali Manikabadage. We have more details of the News First MTV-MBC partnership with YouTube coming up later on in the news. But first, here's a look at the stories making the headlines tonight.
Strike action against electricity tariff hike successful. The President says an environment where a positive thinking generation can be brought forth has been created. Procession of sacred relics to the Sirasa Vesak zone commences in Kandy.
President Mahinda Rajapaksa says that an environment where a positive thinking generation can be brought forth has been created. The President made this observation during an aesthetic festival that was held at Temple Trees yesterday.
The 65th anniversary of the Ruhunu Kala Howler and a celebration of the arts of southern Sri Lanka was held at Temple Trees yesterday under the auspices of President Mahinda Rajapaksa. The President was honoured at this occasion in recognition of his freeing the country from terrorism. The Presidential Media Unit said that awards were also presented at this event to artists who have rendered yeoman service to the flourishing of the arts in the south. Art and literature will develop in a country only if there is peace. In such an environment, we can hope to bring forth a generation that thinks positively. I believe that the best environment has been created today to bring forth new literature.
In another story that made the headlines tonight, now the Sarvagnya Dhatu relics and the Maharahat Dhatu relics to be displayed at the Sirasa Vesak zone have been placed at the Dadimunda Devalaya in Alutnura. The procession escorting the relics commenced from the Yati Halagala Rajamahaviharya in Kandy this morning, subsequent to religious observances.
Lord Buddha's Keshadhatu and 10 other sacred relics were placed in a special vehicle at the auspicious time of 7:40 this morning at the premises of the Yati Halagala Rajamahaviharya. Subsequently, the processions carrying the sacred relics arrived at the Askiriya Mahaviharya. The Mahanayaka of the Malwatu and Askiriya chapters blessed the relics thereafter.
Sirasa Jalayan Vesak Povay Nimiti Garagana Karna me Vedapilta Api Nigamtarian Asirwada Karma Inisa Dalda Hanseke Asirwadin Jaskin Hapodin Hanseke Asirwadim A Katetu Sial Itan Sartako Karganamata Avata Gaveva Yamavata Karkana Karma
Adi Himidir Udasan Yatihilak Rajamaha Viharastane Sadhatuka Dhatu Mandire Indang Medhatun Vahansela.
The relics that were placed at the Sadhatuka Dhatu Mandiraya at the Yati Helagala Rajamahaviharya were placed at the Askiri Mahaviharya amidst the blessings of the most venerable Mahanayaka Theras.
Me Askiri Mahavihara Paristrayata Vedam Kerala E Dhatun Vahansela Vedam Kirime Samaramba Kavastava Ape Mahavihari Maha Sangaratne Ashirwada Madhya Siddha Kirimata Api Katayutu Karanate Eduna.
It was initially planned to place the sacred relics at the Dadimunda Devalaya by 1 o'clock this afternoon after leaving the Askiri Mahaviharya. However, there was a 3-hour delay for the procession to reach its destination today due to a large number of devotees who had gathered on either side of the road to pay homage to the relics. As all devotees should be given an opportunity to pay homage to the sacred relics, the speed of the procession was limited. Subsequent to the procession reaching the Dadimunda Devalaya in Aluknuwara, a special Dhamma sermon was held at 6 this evening. Devotees in and around the Dadimunda Devalaya premises will be allowed to pay homage to the sacred relics until 10:30 this evening. Tomorrow, the procession will leave the Dadimunda Devalaya in the morning and travel to the historical Dadagamu Viharya in Kalagedihena via Mavanalla, Kegol, Warakapola, Dannovita, Passayala and Nittambua. Later, the sacred relics will be taken to the Kalaniya Rajamaha Viharya. The processions with the sacred relics will arrive at the Sirasa Vesak zone on the 24th of this month.
Meanwhile, the first tele-Torana featuring a completely digitalized Vesak pandal will go on display at the Sirasa Vesak zone this year. The pandal, which will feature 3 Jataka stories, will comprise of over 100 artworks.
This fully digitized tele-Torana is 48 feet in height and is 82 feet wide. The design and construction on this pandal, which comprises of 190 wide screens, is being undertaken at present at the MTV MBC Studio Complex premises in Depanama. The pandal will depict the stories of Sariputta and Moggallana, Angulimala Maharahattera and Devadatta. Meanwhile, the construction work at Braybook Place, where the pandal will be placed, is also underway.
Now, as we mentioned to you at the start of the bulletin, News First, Sri Lanka's leading news provider with MTV and MBC, has inked a partnership with the world's largest online video community, YouTube. News First hopes to use YouTube to monetize its content while protecting its intellectual property rights through this partnership.
News First has recorded over 12 million views on its news channel on YouTube so far, the highest of any Sri Lankan news channel. News First plans on improving its competencies related to YouTube video production and editing and utilizing the valuable audience analytic tools provided by YouTube to content creators, enabling them to place their content in front of the most suitable viewers. Nedra Veerasinghe, Group Director of MTV, said, "We are proud to be the first Sri Lankan network to launch out internationally online." Siobhan Daniel, channel head of News First and director MTV MBC, said, quote, "We are very excited about this. Together with YouTube, we are creating a future," unquote. Manager Value-Added Services of MTV MBC, Chris Martinstein, said, "Our sights are set on reaching much bigger numbers in the future. This partnership can take us there."
On to yet another headline-making story tonight. The coordinating committee to unite trade unions says that the strike action against the electricity tariff hike was a success. However, the secretary to the Ministry of Public Administration and Home Affairs stated that operations at state institutions were not affected by the strike. News First delved deeper into the strike action that was carried out today.
Traders in Chilao showed their support to the strike against the electricity tariff hike by closing their shops in the Chilao town. Black flags were raised in surrounding areas of the Chilao town as a mark of protest. Traders in the Wattawala town in Hatton showed their support to the strike action by closing their shops until 12 this afternoon. However, estate workers reported to work today as usual. News First correspondents who visited several leading schools in Anuradhapura said that the attendance of teachers at these schools was poor. Our correspondent said that only 25% of the teachers had reported to work at the Anuradhapura Central College, the Swarnapali Balika Mahavidyalaya and the Walasinghe Harishchandra Mahavidyalaya.
We are glad to say that around 75 to 80% of the teachers in the North Central Province did not report to schools and took part in the strike action.
Meanwhile, shops in the Anuradhapura town were closed this morning. In the meantime, members of the All Ceylon General Port Employees Union staged a demonstration opposite the main entrance to the Sri Lanka Ports Authority in support of the strike action.
If the government does not reach a proper decision regarding the increased electricity tariffs, and if a decision is made to continue the strike action, we will definitely take part in this.
ක්‍රියාවලිය දක්වා අපි සම්බන්ධ වෙන බවට අපි මේ අවස්ථාවේදී ප්‍රකාශ කරනවා.
The United Labour Federation organised a protest march from the Belek-Kade junction to the Mount Lavinia junction today. The demonstrators urged the government to reverse the electricity tariff hike. Employees of the National Water Supply and Drainage Board engaged in a demonstration opposite the board's offices in Ratmalana. This was organised in support of the island-wide strike action. Employees at the new Jayawardhanapura Hospital engaged in a demonstration during the morning break. University teachers engaged in demonstrations in Colombo and in Kandy to show their support to the strike action. The main demonstration took place opposite the Nugegoda supermarket complex. Employees of a flour factory in Trincomalee did not report to work today. Our reporter says that day-to-day operations at the factory were hampered as a result. A demonstration organised by several teacher unions was held opposite the Jaffna University today against the increased electricity tariffs. Our correspondent said that lecturers from the University of Jaffna also took part in this demonstration.
Despite the strike action, activities at state institutions and private establishments in the Western Province and other provinces went on as usual.
This footage was obtained from the Ragama railway station this morning. Our correspondent said that operations at the Ragama hospital also went ahead as usual. The Fort railway station functioned today as usual. Our correspondent said that buses were seen in operation today as usual at the central bus stand in Petta. Operations at the National Hospital in Colombo also went on as usual today.
Today all the employees, including the doctors, nurses and junior staff, reported to work. We had no disruptions in rendering services. Operations and other medical services were carried out today as usual.
News First correspondents in Gampaha reported that the Gampaha railway station operated as usual today. Moreover, hospitals in Gampaha and the Gampaha district secretariat also functioned as usual today.
Meanwhile, the Secretary to the Ministry of Public Administration and Home Affairs, P.B. Abekun, speaking to News First, said that activities at several state institutions went on as usual today.
There
are no signs of a strike because employees have reported to work. For instance, the employees in my institution have reported to work as usual. In any company, 8 to 10% of workers go on holiday. Therefore, we have not received any reports of a strike.